Hey everyone, Ask Coach Ben podcast. I'm here with Jim from Jiu-Jitsu Magazine, and today we're going to talk about something that's very important to me, something that I've kind of dealt with for a long time in the Jiu-Jitsu world, which is the gym culture and training environment of your gym or your home training team, and just a couple things about what I think is the most conducive toward your success as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, whether you're a hobbyist, a competitor, or anything in between. So, Jim, first of all, how are you doing today?
Hey, what's going on, Coach Ben? I'm doing well. And yes, this is a very important topic. And you wanted to speak about this, and I think it's very important because anyone who's considering going into a gym, taking these principles that you're about to talk about and really comparing that to their personality and going to a gym that represents what they want out of the jiu-jitsu experience, because it's that first exposure. If you're new to the community, jiu-jitsu community, that's really going to shape the rest of your experience, because all it takes is one bad opening, the first impression, one chance to make a lasting impression. It's if their first impression of a gym is really crappy, that person is no longer, as far as they're concerned, I took jiu-jitsu, it's not for me. So, Ben, let's go ahead and delve into this.
All right, so the training environment, no matter who you are, competitor, gym owner, hobbyist, 3-day-a-week guy, 10 training sessions a week guy, to me, the most important part of a training environment is that you trust your training partners. Okay, so what do I mean by trust your training partners? Meaning that when we train, when we roll, when we spar, I know that you don't have bad intentions, as in your intentions are to hurt me, okay? Because there are times when you need to know when a submission is a real threat and you need to make sure you know how to escape, right? But I don't want to roll with people in the gym, in a training setting, where the goal is to hurt the other person. And I, anybody that does jiu-jitsu for a long period of time, you've definitely rolled with people whose intent was to hurt you, was to win, was to roll with bad intentions, was to feed their ego, And one of the things I wanted to make sure that everybody heard was a clip from Bernardo Faria's YouTube, and we'll play it after this. And basically what it is him talking to Fabio Gurgel about how important it is to run the academy, to run the academy as with a good culture, where the training environment is geared towards the academy as a whole and not feeding the ego of the world champions or the competitors or making a toxic training environment. And he makes it a big point in mentioning that not every day should be a war. It should be a good environment. So we'll play that clip, and we'll come back.
All right.
Who does jiu-jitsu and one day becomes like a professor or instructor, they want to build champions, right? And you are the one who built the most champions. Like you built like over 60 world titles as a black belt. Different world champions as a black belt was probably more than 10 or 15, right?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
What was the what could you point as like this was kind of like the main thing?
I think one of the, of course you got to know the technique and you got to provide a good technique for everybody, but that's not the really a point. That is a 1,000 good instructors out there. The point is you need to know how to deal with champions, and in my point of view is don't feed the ego, okay. Right? You treat everybody as the same, you put them to work hard as everybody else. And when the champion understands that, because the champion is that guy that already works hard, right? Yep. They are very driven. They train hard. They want to be a champion. So they sacrifice a lot of things. You just need to guide them and avoid conflicts. Yep. Make the environment good for everybody, so everybody can really get the best of themselves from that environment. Yep. So that's what I try to do at my school till nowadays, and keep the environment nice, and so the people can take the best of them.
I got it. So it's kind of like you provide the technique, but you also provide the environment where they.
Absolutely, yeah,
I got it.
absolutely. And the people, when you are too focused and get the champion under your roof, and you think that's the most important thing, what happened in the end is that you're gonna put the focus in one guy,
I got it.
you know, and you forget your school. And what I think is definitely much stronger is you take care of the school, and then you raise the champions inside the school, and you just take care of them as you take care of your students as a whole. You know, so the champions and the competition team is just a small part of the whole thing. So as an instructor, you need to take care of your, you know, of your group. You know, so that's why the environment is so important. You cannot have a war environment every day. You know, you wanna go to academy to train hard, but you wanna go there and laugh with your friends, you know, and have a good time. That's what, you know, being champion is all about. You know, you have to enjoy your day, otherwise you can't handle. You know?
No, I agree 100%.
All right, so hopefully you guys got the gist of the message from that clip. So Fabio Gurgel is one of the heads of Alliance, right? So he's produced more world champions than any of us, that's for sure. So one of the first things he says is don't feed the ego, right? Don't let people get away with BS. You know, I just have been in a lot of training environments in where I guess the goal was to win or to impress the head instructor or, you know, look good or look cool. And these are not good things for learning. You know, when you want to learn, what do you need to do? You need to experiment. You need to go outside of your comfort zone. You need to try new things. And if you don't trust your training partner, how are you going to try these new things, right? If I want to learn an armbar defense and me and you are training, Jim, I need to let you start in an extended armbar or an armbar. Can I trust that you're not going to break my arm? If I can't, we're never going to be in that position. You know, so I'm going to be shelled up. I'm not going to play my real game. And guess what? I'm not going to learn because I'm scared, right? I have now, I have a shield, right? I'm scared that you're going to hurt me. Or worse, I could also be toxic and I could say, well, I don't want him to get the better of me because then, then I won't be the man. You know, so these weird things, childish things that are very common in jiu-jitsu. And, I think they're very bad. You know, I think in most of the successful competition team trainings that I've seen, there's none of this stuff. Not everybody, obviously, but, for example, I'm pretty sure at Danaher's and at Atos and these big teams, there's not this sense of ego in the training room. And if there is, it's probably not as intense as even some of these non-competitive schools. A lot of non-competitive schools, it's all about, who wins in the gym, right? Don't talk about that. It's irrelevant. People are trying things in the gym. People should be trying in the gym, not winning in the gym, learning in the gym. Never roll with bad intentions, right? If you roll against somebody and you just feel they have bad intentions to hurt you, they're trying to use, moves that are damaging. They rip a Kimura off and don't even give you a chance to tap.
Yeah, start thumb knuckling your rib just to get you to move. Pain type moves.
Yeah. Certain people roll like that. Okay, but their intention is everything. To me, everything is about intention, right? So to be successful in jiu-jitsu, I think you need to have the right training environment, and it's all about improvement. It's all about improvement. It's not about entitlement. A lot of people are entitled in jiu-jitsu. So, and then this is one thing that I know even me and you have kind of like not a disagreement, but just a differing opinion and which is
different styles.
Style. So I used to be like this. I used to be like you, Jim, and I don't know what happened. I kind of you're
Matured.
Crazier than me. No, not necessarily. So what we kind of diverge on is I do not like it when people roll against me with bad intentions, unless I'm in a competition. If I'm in a competition, yeah, I have bad intentions too. But in the gym, we're just training, man. We're just training. Do we need to really try to break each other's arm or throw each other off the mats or do very non-technical escapes to moves where you're just using, strength, and you're bigger than me and you want to explode out and throw me off the mat. Do we need this? And so I either have a talk with these people. I'm a black belt. Usually a lot of times these guys aren't black belts and they're in my academy. So I just tell them, look, man, this is not the world championships. Okay. We are not in a competition. All right. I understand if you want to go hard, maybe we start in a specific place and then we build up, right? Not every role is going to be a death match, right? I don't really let that fly. I don't allow that. But whereas you've told me in the past that you like it.
Well, it's not that I like it. I embrace it. I understand it. And there, to me, jiu-jitsu is, and this is kind of my my theory, my belief. It's it's not some science-based theory, but it's the idea of when folks come at you like that. Yep. Like you said, it's usually not a high-level guy.
No.
High-level guys tend to not do that. No. So when guys do come like that, I think as a higher belt, if you are not the instructor or the instructor, it's your house and your opportunity to display the true power of jiu-jitsu. And sooner or later, folks that come to the gym with that kind of intent, they either phase out real quick, they burn out, or they learn their lesson. And as the instructor or the higher belt, that's your opportunity to little brother them, so to speak, and allow jiu-jitsu to be the teacher.
Yeah.
So I embrace it. I'm on the same page as you. I don't like it, but I feel there's a need to accept that and then deal with it accordingly.
I think since I've owned my academy for quite a long time. I came from an academy where this was kind of like the norm. And I'm just kind of more sick of it, I guess, as a sense. I've dealt with it so many times where somebody will become a student of mine, and our trainings will become kind of toxic, right, over time, because the student, even if it's a student, if it's not a student, it gets even worse, where they want to beat me. They want to beat me on the mat, and I'm not opposed to tapping. You got to legit catch me, though. What I'm opposed to is people playing what I would call is a game where you're trying to win, right? Like, as in, if I get a dominant grip or a dominant position, you will just cling on, and there's no way you're going to submit me, and then you're going to explode out, and now we're in the same situation in reverse. Now you're trying to kill me with aggressive moves that would never work, but they just are explosive, and maybe you're a strong guy, and that's it. Nobody gets better.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah,
everybody's stiff. We're just stiff. I don't want to get hurt, so I have to defend with stiffness, and you're playing your stiffest guard passing game in the world, and it's just this is not.
It's no longer training.
It's no longer training. It's essentially a strength battle where, yes, I could win if I start using that level of strength, but it's not about winning. It's not about winning. It's about learning. So, so those are the types of things that I'm trying to weed out, at least in my academy, where you're open-minded to learning as opposed to winning. And this is kind of like two separate topics, but a lot of times these people, they're not rolling with bad intentions, but they're rolling with ego. Okay, if you're rolling bad intentions to hurt somebody, that's really bad. That's like toxic to the next level, right? But there are people in the gym who roll really just to win, and you can feel it right away. I mean, you just immediately feel, okay, well, this person's rolling to win. They're not really trying to learn. Okay, and if we all train that way, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just that me personally, that's not what I got into jiu-jitsu for. It's not to win. It's to learn, right? And if learning means that I lose, then that's okay. I will lose if that means more learning.
And we've all lost.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Where this gets funky is where if you're training with me and your goal is to win, I can't trust you, because if I let you get into a submission, you're going to crank it. And now I can't get hurt because of your intentions. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to now play a very isolated game where maybe it's just my best stuff, or I'm kind of shelling up too. I don't want to get injured, and it's limiting everybody. So to me, this all goes back to trusting your training partners. You must trust the people that you train with. And how do you do that? Well, I'm still trying to figure that out. But it all begins with kind of values, right? So having the first principles to be aligned, right? I'm still creating the values of my gym. I've changed them over time, but I'll just gloss over a couple of them, and then we can wrap it up after that. But community, right? Adding more to your gym than you are taking away, and a lot of that for most people is on the mats, right? If you're a really tough guy in the gym, you're very high level, you're good, you tend to win most of the roles, maybe it's time to give back. Put yourself in a bad spot and let somebody catch you. They will, learn, and you will learn.
Great point.
Also, again, just respect everyone and enhance the environment. Okay, if you just come to the gym looking to submit 10 people every night and not get tapped, I'm going to be honest, you're a piece of shit. That's just so entitled and selfish. Even as an instructor, I shouldn't be thinking that. In fact, as an instructor, I should be thinking the opposite of that. I've been filming a lot of my roles with my students, and a lot of the time, I'm about to get tapped. Yeah, I think I've been tapped a couple times too, and it is what it is. I record it, I show it to my student, we analyze. It is what it is. It's not a big deal. You will get caught, right? If you are training to get better, you will lose. Okay, if you're training to win, you might not ever get better.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
It's part of the process.
So that was one of my values of the gym. Community. Build up the community. Growth. Okay. Growth is super important. Always be a student. Always focus on learning with an open mind. Strive for improvement every day. Okay. If you're trying to win every day, you're not looking to improve. You're looking to feed your ego every day. Okay. There are days where I will start only in flat half guard. Just get my cauliflower ear get worse, but I'm learning. I'm learning how to handle pressure. I'm learning this stuff. And it took me a long time to understand this, man. I used to be that guy. I used to be the guy who wanted to win every role. I'm sure you at a certain point did that too. I mean, we trained together. We were in an academy where the instructor was great, heart of gold, right? But maybe he didn't understand the culture and the environment as well, so maybe something slid. And it is what it is, right? But again, it starts from the top. If the values are established, then people will fall in line. Always be a student. If you're learning, nobody can fault you. All right. Truth, right? So always seek the truth, right? Just the sooner you can be transparent and accept the truth in all things, especially jiu-jitsu, the sooner you can overcome these things, right? For a long time, I used to ignore the guard, because I was like, well, I don't need the guard. I'll just get on top and I'll smash you. Well, guess what? There's going to come a time where you can't do that to somebody.
That choice isn't yours.
It's not your choice. So now I came to face that, and now my guard is decent. It's not great. It's okay. Right? If you're bad at armbar defense, put yourself in the armbar. Don't avoid, that position. Put yourself there. Learn how to escape. More values, character. Everybody, again, this is not something that you can control if you don't own the gym, but, I tend to just tell people only to hang around with others that have uncompromising integrity, and then hold yourself to that standard too. Do the right thing when nobody's watching. These are things, and what's part of having good character? Not trying to hurt your training partners, not trying to take something from somebody, like their pride or their knowledge. Okay, give back, right? If you get knowledge, give knowledge.
Yeah, and let me kind of add to that right there, because that's a good point. Giving back and not trying to hurt your partners. But there are some people, and I think this is one of the values to add on to what you're saying, is to be self-aware. Because then there are those guys, they roll hard, they tend to hurt people.
They just don't know.
They don't know. And to me, that is slow down a little bit, then
Right.
be more self-aware and kind of understand the things that you do and how they affect others.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know that you're affecting others, you're not good at self-reflection, to be honest. I don't think those types of people would actually listen to a podcast like this, but let's just say they do. Take a moment and self-reflect. Okay, more than likely, the people listening to a podcast like this are the people who are going to be dealing with people like that. Somebody in the gym who's just incredibly toxic to train with or dangerous to train with. And I'll tell you this: create a conflict with that person by telling them exactly what it is that's bothering you. Don't beat around the bush. Don't avoid it. You know, I had a very egotistical person in my gym once, and I kind of fed that ego. You know, I was like, well, you could try it like this, but you don't do that. Be straight to the point.
Direct.
You are creating a toxic training environment for the rest of the people here. Nobody wants to roll with you. Understand that when it's time to train, we all slap hands and you're always alone. Why? Okay. Why do you think? Because nobody wants to train with you. You're dangerous and you roll with bad intentions and you only want to win. There you go. That's why. So it may not be your call. Sometimes it might be a higher belt, but I mean, it's tough. You know, every situation can be handled differently, but I would just tell the person straight up, look, I'm not rolling with you because you do this, this, and this. And if you do roll with that person, you know, you have to accept the possible consequences. Is you're going to war, you know. So it is what it is. You can't avoid every situation, but at least you can make yourself, you know, aware of the situation. Okay. A couple more: accountability, right? So these are things that I think people in the gym, the culture, the training environment, they need to have. Okay. If you hurt, I've heard people say all kinds of things about this, but I'm just going to put my opinion out there. If you hurt somebody in the gym training, it's your fault. Okay? It's your fault. I don't care what they did. Okay. Now, there are freak accidents, somebody rolling the complete wrong way out of like an ankle lock or a leg lock, and they hurt themselves. Of course it happens. Okay. But I can tell you right now that every week somebody rolls out of a leg lock when I do it incorrectly. What do I let go. I let go. I'm not going to hurt them and say, oh, well, it was up to you to tap. No, man, that's crazy toxic. That's like saying, well, you know, you're better than this person, but you're going to teach them a lesson the hard way and also hurt them. Like, why? What's the point?
Especially when there's a skill discrepancy.
Exactly.
When you're
exactly.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, is called the catch and release principle. Catch and release.
Now, there are certain people who need to be told, not taught this lesson, but told, you need to tap. There are people who just don't tap, and those are crazy people. You got to tell them, look, when it gets to this point, you must tap. Okay, if you don't tap, I'm going to release, but I'm going to have some words with you about tapping because you have to tap. That's the opposite end of it. These are both opposite spectrums, right? You don't want to be either end. You don't want to be the guy that doesn't tap. You don't want your training partners never to tap, but at the same time, you have to be accountable for things, right? If you hurt somebody, it probably was your fault. You know, you're the one applying the thing, you know, and you don't want to hurt your training partners. These are people that are helping you get better, okay? Doesn't mean you can't have a conversation with them, but don't hurt your training partners and don't make excuses. Okay? Don't make excuses about anything. Oh, this guy beat you up in training today. This is part of accountability. He beat you up in training today. Well, why did he beat you up in training today? Well, your guard sucks. You have no guard. He passed your guard and submitted you. There you go. What's the problem? Your guard. Your guard was poor. Not, you had a bad breakfast. I was tired. My work boss is yelling at me. Oh, he's been training twice a day. These are all stupid excuses. He beat you because he was better than you. The end. No excuses. You don't need excuses. You want to get better at jiu-jitsu? Don't make excuses like that. Don't ask your training partner, how much do you weigh? You know, your wrestler. You know, I hear this every week, you know. Like, it's just who cares? The better question is, who cares? It's not about them. It's about you. You're trying to get better, right? Be realistic. Okay, that's the last couple principles or values, excuse me. be willing to accept the harsh realities of jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of harsh realities. You know, a lot of people never accept these realities, even when they're black belt, even when they're super high level. And guess what? They never reach the highest level. Okay. You need to be able to accept your weaknesses. This is kind of like the accountability, but you need to be humble. You know, don't feed the ego. Nobody is infallible, right? So if there's somebody in the gym that's really, really good, don't just praise that person all day and make their ego huge. You know, I made that mistake many times. Instead, just be realistic. You know, be realistic. It's just another human, right? Same thing with you. You're not infallible. Just because you're a black belt, just because you own the academy, you're not God. You know, I had somebody in my past who was an instructor tell me, in this academy, I am God. This guy that owned the gym that I trained at. And I never saw him the same after that, because I was like, what do you mean in this academy you're God? You are not God. Okay? There's no gods in jiu-jitsu. You know, you're just a guy that owns a business, and you happen to have a black belt on. That's it. And then, you know, consistency, right? You have to be consistent in order to get better, right? That, you know, not really gym culture, but this is like a value of getting better at jiu-jitsu, right? If you're consistently working on your weaknesses, well, guess what? Those weaknesses will no longer be weaknesses, right? And then this is more of a value for myself, is to have some kind of method that you choose to evaluate, you know, what's good and bad, what's right and wrong, what's true and false, you know, etc. So scientific method. I use the scientific method. You can use whatever method you like, but have a method, right? So scientific method basically is like, if you cannot test the hypothesis, then you cannot reach a meaningful conclusion that it's true, right? So how does that go for jiu-jitsu? Well, you want to work on a certain move. Okay, you want to work on deep half. You want to be the best deep half guard player in the world. But then you look at the champions of the no-gi worlds or the champions of ADCC. How many of them use deep half guard as a primary guard? 0? 1? 0? Okay, 0. Probably not at the high level of the metagame right now. Might need to change it. Okay, that might not be an exact use of the scientific method. It's more like an anecdotal observation, but you know, just have a method, right? So how this translates into everything else we've talked about is you just have to have some guidelines for your training and your gym culture in order for you yourself to grow as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and if you own a gym, as a way for all your students to kind of fall in line, right? For an organization to succeed, it's very difficult for an organization to succeed if we don't have shared values, right? If half of my team thinks this and the other half thinks this as their guiding principles in life or in training, it's not going to work, you know? So, yeah.
Well, very good points there, Coach Ben. Gym culture, accountability, self-awareness, and come in with a good intent and willingness to learn.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say, and we'll pull up this clip too, is a clip of Faraz Zahabi talking to Joe Rogan about kind of the same thing, right? About the key to success is not letting somebody's ego and entitlement take over. It's about the team. That's why community was number one. It's about the gym or the academy as a whole, not about one individual lording over everybody. Okay. And I would say the most successful competitors in jiu-jitsu understand that to a certain degree. They give credit where it's due. They're just more humble. The highest level people are usually the more humble people in the training room. Maybe not their persona, but in the training room, they are the most humble. So
we'll cut to that clip. So there's Joe Rogan with Faraz Zahabi, I guess at this point the latest one. So
yeah.
Another good choice about moving to Montreal is you've accumulated a culture up there at TriStar, and that is as important to success as almost anything, is to go into an environment and feeling the culture of that environment and knowing like this is a place where real assassins go to train. This is a real world-class facility with some of the best competitors on earth are going to hone their edge. And this is where they go.
This is the place you check your ego at the door. Everybody's the same. It's all about improvement, excellence. There's only one question. What are we doing today is whatever's going to make us better, period. There's no, this guy's in the practice room, we got to cater to his needs and we got to move things around. No, there's none of that. Like I've had some big stars come in and I tell them, look, you can come in with your entourage, but you have to do it this way and you have to come in and do the workout like this and you have to be like everybody else. Oh, yes. If it's a no, you can't come in. That's it. Just don't come in. Like I can't stop the world for a guy, to massage his ego.
Right.
That's why I like Kevin, and he was very humble and he works with everybody and he's a great fit.
He's a great guy.
He's a great human being. Great.
All right, so hopefully you guys got something from that clip. Really, it's really the same thing as what Fabio Gurgel said. It's all about the environment. No one's special, and that's I think it's funny to me that guys like that, like Faraz and Fabio, who are such high level coaches and they've trained such high level competitors, they get that, and that's why their competitors are so successful, their athletes are so successful. And then there's gyms out there, there's academies out there with basically like no names, like people that they haven't made a name for themselves, and they don't understand that. You see the correlation. They probably haven't made it to the next level because they couldn't get to the next level. It's because that toxic training environment. So, lesson to be learned here: if you are in an environment where it's more about winning than learning, I'm not saying leave your gym. I'm just saying think about if there's any way that you could take that information and make sure that you don't become part of that toxicity, right? Because at a certain point, I was also a part of that, right? I wanted to win. And it took me a long time to understand, if you want to test yourself, if you want to win, compete. Don't do it in the training room.
And I guess to your point, we would say self-assess and be the example. Be the example that showcases values that you're talking about.
Yes, sir. Be the person that brings more value to the situation than you take, and things will be good.
Very good, Coach Ben. Once again, another good episode with some good insight on gym culture. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim.